Hi guys, I'm doing a rewatch of Twin Peaks again, and I'm on to episode 4 of season 1, and it's called The One-Armed Man. Was directed by Tim Hunter and written by Robert Engels. So Sarah is making a police composite, helping the police to sketch a picture of a man that she thinks she saw at the foot of Laura's bed. Whilst she's doing this, Leland comes in and sarcastically says that Sarah has had a couple of visions, and he's very, despite his recent behaviour, he seems to be very accusatory against the way Sarah is dealing with her emotions, and it's clear that there are problems between them. Sheriff Truman prompts Sarah to relay her vision, and she talks about the necklace. Of course, when she says that she saw the necklace being removed from the earth, Donna looks a bit freaked out because she knows that she and James buried it. Dr. Jacoby again acting very odd, and Cooper has a deadpan expression. I'm not surprised because he seems like a complete weirdo. So Laura Palmer's secretive nature is alluded to by Dr. Jacoby, who said that he tried to break down her layers of secrecy, but he couldn't, in all the time that he was seeing her, and he expects to be thinking about that for the rest of his life. He says that Laura was a woman, which doesn't sit well with me. I mean, I know she was played, Laura was supposed to be 17, and I think the actress who plays her looks a little bit older than 17, but clearly, with her behaviour and lifestyle, she was just a young girl.
It's not till the end of the month. Hang loose, Hallies. Has Leo Johnson got a red Corvette? Yes.
Okay, so we get the first introduction to Gordon Cole, who is of course played by David Lynch, and
the Palmer girl or Albert's new best friend, Harry Truman. Albert has been very...
You get this weird, more mysterious aspects to Laura Palmer's death, because we find out that she had bird bites on her and she had plastic fragments in her stomach. So it's very nice that Cooper defends Harry against Albert's accusations. Clearly he has a lot of respect for the sheriff. There's a nice friendship building between them, I would say. So Cooper says that he saw the same man that Sarah saw in her vision in his dream. He said he knew that his dream and Sarah Palmer's vision were going to be interconnected in some way, and he seems to very much understand his own psychic abilities and his own the power he has. He seems very comfortable with it as well, like it's something he's known about himself for a long time. Pete the Poodle, that's what Catherine calls her husband, which is very pleasant. Tells you a lot about what kind of woman she is. Catherine and Ben basically working out how to set up Josie. Harry, Cooper and Andy arrive at the motel where the one-armed man is staying. All of the characters in Twin Peaks, nearly all of them, have some kind of comedic side to them. So even when Ben is being really dastardly, he says something that makes him likeable. Andy's incompetence on the job is making him feel a little insecure, I would say. First of all, he drops his gun, and then he knocks something over in the room while they are interviewing the one-armed man. So the one-armed man, he says his name is Philip, although we have seen him before explaining that his name is Mike in Cooper's dream. He seems fairly, above board in the things that he says. He says he's been to see his friend called Bob at the hospital, but that the man in the picture is not the Bob he has been visiting. all a bit confusing. So Audrey and Donna are talking in the toilets. It's clear by the conversation that Audrey is dreaming of a life that is more exciting than that which she has so far experienced in Twin Peaks, and she also longs for a kind of romantic adventure. She is thinking about Agent Cooper when she talks about a tall, dark, handsome stranger. Audrey says a couple of things about Laura that nobody else is supposed to know except maybe Donna. Donna looks a bit worried. So Audrey is basically saying that she is kind of titillated by the idea of Laura working at One-Eyed Jack's. I guess it's kind of like doing something you're not supposed to do, doing something that's naughty and dangerous. You know, that seems really exciting to Audrey. So Hank Jennings is up for parole, and he's basically trying to weasel his way out of it, out of the crime that he committed, which put him in jail. And you know, he doesn't have much of a sense of responsibility about it. I kind of don't believe anything he's saying. He just wants to get out. One has manipulated Norma to feel sorry for him and give him some support. His demeanour as he walks out of the courtroom was a little bit childish. So Cooper is still chasing the information from the dream that he had about Mike and Bob. Sheriff Truman basically affirms that he believes Cooper's dreams are meaningful because he says, "I'd be afraid to go to sleep at night if I was you, Coop." Of course, we go into the veterinary surgery, and there is a llama standing there, which is completely unexpected. Very funny moment. And the llama checking out Cooper is one of the funniest moments in Twin Peaks. Accidentally funny, I'm sure, that the llama wasn't trained to stare at his face like that. Bobby and Shelley have a conversation about Leo and Jacques Renault, and you know, Bobby admits that they are selling cocaine at school and that Laura was probably involved in taking it. Lucy and Andy's relationship is pretty cute. The pair of them seem completely suited to one another, although there is clearly some tension between the two of them, and Cooper notices this. Again, he's very intuitive, and you know, he says he can read body language. So Cooper seems pretty worked up when talking about his romantic history, and Hawk says an amazing line about what women mean to him and about finding true love. There seems to be a lovely friendship between the men who work at the sheriff's station and Cooper. I think it's brave of Shelley to admit to Norma that Leo is physically abusing her, although Norma sort of just consoles her instead of like giving her any advice about it. It's almost like she's in too deep with her situation with Hank to really be able to say anything of value to Shelley. So James is in the diner when he sees Madeline walk in. She has her back to him, but he sort of looks like he senses something immediately, and then when he sees her, it's clearly someone he's never seen before, and he can obviously see Laura instead of Madeline because she looks so much like Laura. Madeline's physical resemblance to Laura is a little bit odd, a little bit weird. She looks like her twin, obviously. This is reflected in the kind of eerie music that we hear in the background during Madeline's explanation of who she is to James. So Ben and Audrey are having a conversation. Audrey approaches her father. She clearly has a lot of emotional need to be loved, and respected by her father, and she basically asks him, you know, are you ashamed of me? And he's sort of evasive at first, but then he says, I wish I could depend on you more or less saying, you know, he wants her to be a bit more grown up. And she responds to that by saying she wants to help out in the family business. She uses emotional blackmail to get to her father, using Laura's death as a reason why he should help her out. She has no qualms in using emotional blackmail to get what she wants in this scenario. Despite the fact that we know that she is telling a few lies in this conversation, she does come across as being genuine. So I think there's a little bit of truth in when she says, you know, when she says to her father, you have to start thinking about the future. I think she genuinely is thinking about her own future and what that entails in terms of how she's going to fit in with the family and what she's going to do in the future for work and for her family's business. Also, she mentions her brother, which is obviously, you know, his disabilities are obviously going to be something that's always playing on her mind, and perhaps she feels it like she has to be more responsible now that, you know, Laura isn't there to take care of Johnny anymore. So we find out that Leo, Hank and Ben are interconnected with this murky drug business. Leo is about as bad as he can get. You know, he's a killer now. We have seen that he's a murderer. So Donna says that Laura knew that her mother had these kind of psychic abilities, and that's the only reason she can think of why Sarah's visions might be true about the necklace. Donna thinks that she can't trust anybody because she thinks that her and James were the only people who really loved Laura and wanted to protect her. And of course I think she wants to use this moment as a way of getting closer to James as well. There's a cute friendship between Pete and Josie. He seems like a genuinely nice guy typical of the rural existence, and he's very welcoming to Josie to integrate her into that lifestyle. And then Josie receives the picture of the dice which we saw Hank Jennings with earlier. Okay, so I thought that episode, you know, introduced a couple. It introduced Hank Jennings, introduced the Reno brothers. I think a lot of the episode was building up on clues that we have already heard about, following up on some ideas such as interviewing the one-armed man. We got a little bit more about his situation. We had a little bit more focus on Sarah's vision and the man in the vision. We saw the friendship between Cooper and the rest of the men at the Twin Peaks Sheriff Station develop, which was really nice to see. With James meeting Maddie, you already get a sense that there is going to be some sort of triangle at play. I think Donna at the end, when she didn't want to let anybody else get involved in the situation regarding the half-heart necklace, that she was wanting to keep James all to herself. Almost, you know, she was almost possessive about his involvement and, you know, his company and her need for him. I think that it was kind of a mysterious episode because I think, you know, it opens up a lot of pathways down which we can go to try and investigate the Laura Palmer mystery. And I think at this stage, you know, there's so many directions that it could be going in that it's impossible to tell where it is going. I would say that perhaps the biggest suspects so far in the Laura Palmer murder mystery are probably Ben, because he seems to be involved in a lot of nefarious events. Not just, you know, he knew Laura, he his involvement with One-Eyed Jacks, his involvement with Catherine and trying to overthrow Josie, and his involvement with Leo and the Reno brothers. You know, he is a pretty dark character. Probably the #1 suspect, I would say, at this stage, along with Leo Johnson, who we know is has no respect for women and is a violent man and is also a killer. I think also we start to see a lot of the relationships develop, such as Norma and Shelley's friendship and Lucy and Andy's problematic relationship. Okay, so that's all for now. And next time I'm going to be reviewing episode 5 of season 1. If you would like to join me for that, you are very welcome. I would love it if you want to subscribe to the channel, and also if you would like to comment below on your thoughts about this episode or any of the episodes that I've watched previously, that I've recapped previously, or season 1 in general, because I have actually seen the whole thing, and I'm very keen to talk to other fans about, you know, things that I might not have noticed before. Until next time, goodbye.